Good morning and welcome to the English class for Standard 12. Today we are going to do Unit 1, that is the last lesson. Ironically, the first lesson in 12th standard textbook is named the last lesson. Alphonse Daudet was a French novelist and short story writer. The last lesson is set in the days of Franco-Prussian War, which went on for 1 year, 1870 to 1871, in which France was defeated by Prussia led by Bismarck. Bismarck was the dictator of Prussia and they defeated France in this war. Prussia then consisted of what now are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. These countries put together made Prussia at that time. Bismarck ruled over that as a dictator and they defeated France. In this story, the French district of Alsace and Lorraine have passed into Prussian hands. Now, as France was defeated, these two districts went under the rule of Prussia. Read the story to find out the effect this had on life at school. I started for school very late that morning and was in a great dread of scolding. I started going to the school late and I feared that I would be scolded, especially because Samuel had said that he would question us on particles. The teacher had said that he would ask questions on particles. Or the first word about them. I did not know anything about particles. For a moment, I thought of running away and spending the day out of doors. That's what the students do these days too. That if they feel that they are going to be in trouble at school, they might stay out of school. And so that was I was so warm, sorry, it was so warm, so bright, chirping at the edge of the woods and in the open field back of the sawmill, the Prussian soldiers were drilling. These things were tempting him. Tempting him, it was means attracting him. There was a sawmill, a factory for cutting wood. Then the soldiers, Prussians were exercising, and these all things were tempting. Tempting means him more than the rule of particles. He was not so much interested in the rule of particles, but he was certainly interested in the chirping of the birds and all these things. But I had the strength to resist and hurried off to school. But I could resist, I could stay away from such kind of temptations, and I hurried to the school. When I passed down the hall, there was a print of the bulletin board. Bulletin board is a notice putting up the latest news and communication. When I passed the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. For the last 2 years, all our bad news had come from there. And which were the bad news that had come from that bulletin board? The lost battles, the draft, that means it was executed, the orders of the commanding officer. And I thought to myself, without stopping, what can be the matter now? That news must have come today. I did not stop there to see what the bad news was. I thought to myself. Then I hurried by as fast as I could go. The blacksmith Vector, who was there with his apprentice reading the bulletin, called after me. I was hurrying at that time. One blacksmith was standing by the bulletin board with his apprentice, means with his trainee, and don't go so fast, Bab. You'll get to your school in plenty of time. You're going to get a lot of time in school. There is no need to hurry there. I thought he was making fun of me and reached Mr. Hamill's little garden all out of breath. I hurried to the garden, almost gasping. Usually, there was a great bustle which could be heard out of this out is and opening of desks, lessons repeated in unison. Unison means at the same time by everybody, very loud. And with our hands over our ears to understand better. They would put their hands over the ears so that they could understand it better. But now it was all so still. But now when you read there, everything was still. And I had counted on the commotion to my desk without being seen. I had counted, means I had relied on, taken into consideration that when I read there, there will be a lot of commotion and I will get into the classroom without being noticed, without being seen. That day, everything as quiet as Sunday morning, as if the school is closed. That way, everything was very quiet. Through the window, already in the places, the class had started. Mr. Hamill walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. You can assume that what he must have felt. The teacher was there with his ruler, all the classmates were in, and he already dreaded it. I had to open the door and go in before everybody. Before everybody means not say before they were in front of everybody. You can imagine how I blushed and how frightened I was. Blushed means face turned red in color due to shame. He was feeling shameful that he was late. But nothing happened. Mr. Hamill saw me and little friends were beginning. I jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. Not till then, when I got a little over my fright, did I see that our teacher had on his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the little black silk cap, all embroidered, that he never wore except on his. Now, after he got out of sight, after jumping over his bench and settling over there, then he got rid of his fear and then the teacher had put on. Now, these were the things that he never used to put on. He never was dressed in this way except on inspection days or prize days. Besides, the whole school seemed so strange and solemn. Solemn means serious. The thing that you see on the back, the village people sitting quietly like ourselves. Now, the thing that most surprised him the most was that the village people were sitting in the classes with the students, like students. Old horsehair with his three cornered hat, the former mayor, the postmaster, and several other besides. All these people were said. The and Hauser, old primer. Primer is the book of basic language teaching. So, basic reader of any language is called primer. Now, Hauser was sitting with his primer. That means he himself must be at the edges. Thumbed means torn and damaged at the edges of the edges of the book were torn and damaged, and he had come with that, and he held it open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the pages, and he had put that book on the desk, and his spectacles were lying on the open pages of that book. While I was wondering about it all, Mr. Hamill mounted his chair. In the same grave and gentle tone were used to me, said, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. The new master comes tomorrow. Lesson. Be attentive. Now, this is what, say, the situation was that these two districts were under and so French would not be taught in the schools, and this was the last French lesson. From the next day, the new teacher would come and he would teach German. That was the order. My last, oh, the wretches, what a thunderclap these were, startling, unexpected. These words were unexpected and surprising for me. Oh, the wretches! That was what they had put up at the town hall. Wretches means it refers to an unfortunate happening. So that is what that unfortunate happening had been mentioned at the bulletin board. At town. My last French lesson? Why? I hardly knew how to write. I should never learn anymore. I must stop I must stop there. I must stop there then. This is what I was thinking. Oh, how sorry I was for not lessons, for seeking birds' eggs or going sliding on the Sar. Sar is a river which runs through France. My books a while ago, my grammar and my history of the saints were old friends now that I couldn't give up. These books of history and the grammar he despised, he did not like so far, but now they seem to be like old friends. And Mr. Hamel too, that I should never see him again made me forget all about his ruler and how cranky he was. Cranky means strange or short tempered. Poor man. It was in honor of this last lesson that he had put on his fine Sunday clothes. And now I understood why the old men of the village were sitting there in the back of the room. School more. It was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service, showing their respect for the country that was theirs no more.